In the vast ocean of existence, the family is the sacred microcosm where the divine presence manifests most intimately. Ibn Arabi teaches us that the human soul is a journeying traveler, ever returning to its origin. When certain signs stir within our closest circle, these are the celestial whispers reminding us the hour of our soul's return to Allah draws near. Beloved brothers and sisters, today we reflect deeply on 5 profound events that may visit your family. Moments that are not mere coincidences, but sacred invitations to prepare the soul for its ultimate reunion with the divine. In the tapestry of human experience, laughter is often the melody that fills our homes, the joyous echo of hearts intertwined in love and companionship. Yet, there are moments when laughter fades and silence takes its place. This silence is not merely the absence of sound. It is the profound language of the soul. When silence descends upon a family, heavy and pervasive, it becomes a spiritual summons, a call to awaken from the distractions of the world and listen deeply within. This silence, though unsettling, unveils the fragile truth of our existence. It reveals the vulnerability that lies beneath the surface of our daily lives and reminds us of the fleeting nature of all things. The soul, like a ship in the stillness of a vast sea, is invited to pause, to reflect, and to seek the divine presence that often goes unheard amidst the clamor of life. True knowledge, it is said, is born not in noise, but in the sacred quiet where the heart becomes a receptive vessel for the call of the beloved. Consider, for a moment, a family struck by the illness or passing of a loved one. The laughter that once echoed through their halls gives way to a silence so deep it seems to envelop every corner of the home. This silence carries with it a painful grief, yet within its depth lies a sacred invitation. It beckons each soul to turn inward, to confront the reality of mortality, and to prepare for the inevitable journey back to the divine. In this stillness, the soul finds space to breathe and to awaken from the illusion of permanence that so often ensnares us. The silence becomes a mirror reflecting the truth that life, with all its joys and sorrows, is transient. It calls the heart to shed its attachments and to seek solace in the eternal embrace of the divine, who is the source and destination of all souls. The language of silence is subtle but unmistakable. It speaks to the heart's deepest longing for reunion with that which is beyond time and space. It reminds us that every moment of quiet is an opportunity to draw nearer to the sacred reality that underlies all existence. When silence replaces laughter, it is not a void to be feared, but a sacred doorway to be entered with courage and faith. In embracing this silence, families are given the chance to transform their grief into spiritual awakening. The shared stillness becomes a space where love transcends words and where the soul's journey toward the divine is made visible. It is a call to prepare not with fear, but with hope and trust, knowing that the return to the beloved is the ultimate homecoming. Thus, when the music of laughter fades and silence settles in your home, listen deeply. Hear in that silence the call to prepare your soul, to cleanse it with patience, to strengthen it with love, and to open it with surrender. For in the sacred quiet, the heart is invited to remember its true origin and its destined return. When suffering visits your loved ones, it arrives not as a cruel stranger, but as a silent teacher cloaked in hardship. Pain, in its many forms, illness, loss, hardship, carries with it a sacred purpose. It is not a punishment inflicted to break the spirit, but rather a fire that refines the heart, much like the forge that purifies gold. This purification strips away the illusions of permanence and reveals the soul's true nature beneath the weight of worldly attachments. In the quiet moments when a family member struggles, when their body weakens or their spirit falters, there is an unspoken invitation to witness a deeper reality. The world, with all its fleeting pleasures and transient sorrows, is but a passing stage in the vast journey of the soul. The suffering that touches a loved one becomes a mirror reflecting the soul's need to prepare itself for the inevitable return to the divine, where pain is no longer felt and mercy flows without end. Consider the heart of a mother watching her child endure the relentless grip of illness. Each breath the child takes becomes a prayer. Each tear shed a testament to love that defies despair. In this sacred trial, the mother's faith is tested, stretched thin by the harshness of reality. Yet, through this very ordeal, her soul is drawn closer to the divine. Patience blooms in her heart like a rare flower amidst the harsh desert. Surrender, once feared as defeat, becomes a wellspring of strength, a quiet acceptance that opens the door to a profound trust in divine wisdom. This trust is not born from resignation, but from a deep knowing that all suffering is temporary. A veil that will one day be lifted to reveal a realm where pain dissolves into mercy and every tear is embraced with boundless compassion. It is the soul's preparation for that moment, learning to walk with hardship not as a burden, but as a sacred companion on the path toward reunion with the beloved. In such times, the family becomes a sanctuary where love transcends suffering. Each act of care, each whispered prayer, and each silent vigil held beside a suffering loved one weaves threads of spiritual resilience and compassion. These moments, heavy as they may be, are also filled with divine grace, shaping the heart to receive a greater measure of mercy. Suffering, then, is not to be shunned or feared, but welcomed as a guide. It teaches the soul humility and dependence on the divine, reminding us that true strength lies not in avoiding pain, but in embracing it with an open heart. It draws the veil from the eyes of the soul, allowing it to see beyond the ephemeral world and into the eternal presence that sustains all life. When suffering visits your family, let it be a sacred call to prepare your soul, not through despair, but through patience, surrender, and love. Let it deepen your trust in the divine plan, even when that plan is hidden beneath layers of hardship. Know that this journey through pain is itself a path to healing, purification, and ultimately to the mercy and peace that await the soul in its final return. When the bonds that hold a family together begin to fray, it is as if a silent fracture has formed within the very heart of the home. Disputes arise like storms. Misunderstandings build walls between those once close. And estrangement casts a shadow over the warmth that once filled shared spaces. This unraveling of connection wounds deeply, not just the surface of relationships, but the soul itself. The ties that bind us to one another are reflections of a greater unity, a divine oneness that flows through all existence. When these earthly bonds weaken, it is a sacred sign, a subtle call to turn inward and seek the eternal bond beyond the confines of time and form. The soul's unity mirrors the unity of the divine reality. Just as the infinite ocean is one, though it appears as countless waves, so too are the souls interconnected in the vastness of divine love. When discord rises among family members, it signals not only a fracture in human relationships, but also a spiritual awakening. A reminder that the ultimate reconciliation we seek must begin within ourselves. The unraveling of bonds, painful though it may be, is not merely a loss. It is a wake-up call from the unseen, urging us to mend what is broken, not only between brothers and sisters, parents and children, but within the depths of our own hearts. Consider the moment when siblings quarrel, their voices sharp with misunderstanding, or when parents grow distant, their shared warmth replaced by silence. Such moments reveal the fragility of the human condition, but they also carry a hidden opportunity. Reconciliation begins not with grand gestures or words, but with a quiet turning inward, an opening of the heart to forgiveness, humility, and love. Preparing for the soul's ultimate return to its source requires this inner healing. It is a process of dissolving the barriers of ego and resentment that divide us, allowing the soul to reconnect with the divine presence that permeates all bonds. This spiritual healing within the family reflects a deeper journey, the soul's preparation to reunite with the divine. When the threads of family connection fray, the soul is invited to weave a new tapestry, one strengthened by compassion and understanding. It is through this sacred mending that the soul learns to transcend the limitations of worldly attachments and tastes the sweetness of divine unity. In healing fractured relationships, we come closer to healing the fractures within ourselves and ultimately to healing the separation from the beloved. The journey through broken bonds is not easy. It demands patience, courage, and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths within ourselves and others. Yet, in this struggle lies great spiritual growth. For in the space where old wounds begin to heal, the soul catches a glimpse of the eternal connection that binds all things, an unbroken thread woven by the hand of the divine. When family ties weaken, let it be a sacred invitation to deepen your love, not only for those around you, but for the divine presence within all. Let each effort to reconcile be a step toward preparing your soul for its final journey, a journey that transcends all earthly separation and returns to the unity from which it came. The healing of family bonds is a reflection of the soul's healing, and through this sacred work, we are brought closer to the infinite embrace of the One who unites all hearts in love. When death draws near within the walls of your family, whether it is the gentle fading of an elder's breath or the fragile struggle of a beloved soul, it announces itself not as a final darkness, but as the most profound sign of transformation. This moment is a threshold, a sacred unveiling where the soul prepares to journey beyond the veil of this world, returning to the source from which it first emerged. Death, in its deepest essence, is not an end, but a glorious unveiling, a passage from the transient shadows of life into the eternal light of divine presence. In the face of death's closeness, the illusions that veil our hearts are stripped away with undeniable clarity. The everyday concerns, the fleeting attachments, and the distractions that fill our minds suddenly lose their hold. The soul, once lulled by the noise of the world, awakens fully to the reality of its origin and destiny. This awakening is not born from fear, but from a profound recognition of the truth that life and death are but two breaths in the endless rhythm of the divine. To prepare the soul in such moments is to embrace death's inevitability with grace, turning with love and trust toward the divine, who is the source of all mercy and life. Consider the silent strength of families gathered around a loved one nearing their final moments. There, amid whispered prayers and quiet vigils, a transformation unfolds. Scientific studies now reveal what the mystics have long known: families who engage in spiritual practices, prayers, reflections, and moments of stillness during times of terminal illness often find a deeper peace. This peace is a reflection of the soul's readiness, a harmony born from the mingling of human love and divine grace. It is in this sacred preparation that the practical and spiritual meet, intertwining as two wings that lift the soul toward its final journey. The presence of death invites a turning inward, a moment to shed fear and grasp the eternal reality that lies beyond the physical. Preparing for this journey is not a passive surrender, but an active opening of the heart. It means welcoming the divine with trust, allowing the soul to release worldly attachments and to embrace the infinite mercy awaiting beyond. In this sacred act of surrender, the soul becomes like a bird released from its cage, soaring toward its true home. The inevitability of death calls us to live with awareness, to nurture the soul with love, patience, and forgiveness while we still walk the earth. It is a reminder that every breath is a gift, every moment a chance to deepen our connection with the divine. When death approaches, it is the echo of that deeper call, urging us to prepare our hearts not with dread, but with the radiant hope of reunion. In the presence of death, we are invited to witness the miracle of transition, the transformation from earthly existence to spiritual eternity. This sacred passage is a final teaching, a divine mystery unfolding before our eyes. It is a call to embrace life fully, to love deeply, and to trust wholly in the mercy that awaits beyond the horizon of this world. When death comes close, do not turn away in fear. Instead, open your heart in love and prepare your soul with grace. The journey ahead is not a path of darkness, but a luminous return to the one who formed you, sustains you, and lovingly awaits your arrival. When love in your family transcends the fleeting and the superficial, when it rises beyond the fragile bounds of worldly desire and self-interest, it reveals itself as a luminous sign, a beacon that your soul is awakening to a greater reality. This love is no longer bound by conditions or limited by circumstance. It flows freely in forgiveness, sacrifice, and selflessness. It is the sacred fire that burns away the veils, separating the heart from the divine, transforming ordinary relationships into vessels of eternal connection. Such love is the very essence of existence, the thread woven through the fabric of the universe. It is the unseen current that moves the stars and the silent breath that sustains all life. When love takes this form within the family, it becomes a mirror reflecting the divine reality itself. It prepares the soul for its final journey by softening the heart, expanding its capacity to receive grace, and opening it to the presence that lies beyond form and time. Consider a family that, despite trials and hardships, remains united through unwavering support and compassion. Their love is not merely an emotion, but a living prayer, a continual offering that echoes through the chambers of their souls. In their acts of kindness and sacrifice, they embody the highest expressions of love, creating a sanctuary where the divine can dwell. This sacred love becomes a spiritual strength, an invisible force that readies their souls for the journey beyond this world. This transcendent love teaches us that true connection is not measured by perfection or ease, but by the depth of surrender and the willingness to embrace others with open hearts. It calls us to forgive where hurt has taken root, to sacrifice personal desires for the good of another, and to act selflessly in service of a love that is infinite and unending. In this way, love becomes a transformative power, purifying the soul and preparing it for reunion with the beloved. As the heart learns to love beyond the temporary and the tangible, it steps onto the path of return, an inward journey toward the source from which all love flows. This journey is both a letting go and a coming home, where the soul sheds its attachments and finds rest in the divine embrace. The love cultivated within family life, when it transcends the worldly, becomes a sacred preparation for this meeting, a reflection of the eternal love that awaits. In every act of forgiveness, in every moment of selfless giving, the soul draws nearer to its origin. The love that transcends the worldly is a whisper of the divine presence, a sign that the heart has been transformed into a vessel ready to receive the fullness of the beloved's grace. It is the quiet but powerful force that guides the soul through life's trials and ultimately leads it to the eternal home. When your family's love reaches this sacred dimension, cherish it deeply. Nurture it with patience and humility, for it is a precious gift and a sacred trust. This love is not only the foundation of your family's strength, but the pathway that leads your soul gently, inevitably, toward its ultimate return. In this love, the soul finds both its purpose and its peace, preparing fully for the moment when it will be reunited with the divine presence from which it was born. Beloved friends, life's journey is marked by moments that, at first glance, may seem heavy with sorrow or confusion. Those times when silence fills the spaces once alive with laughter, when suffering presses upon the hearts we hold dear, when the bonds that once seemed unbreakable begin to unravel, when the shadow of death draws near, and when love transcends the fleeting and touches the eternal. These moments are not to be feared or avoided, but embraced as sacred messengers, heralds from the unseen world, inviting us to awaken to a deeper truth. Within these signs lies a profound wisdom that calls us beyond the surface of worldly trials. They are the quiet summons to prepare, not with dread, but with open hearts and steady souls, for the ultimate journey every soul must undertake. When silence replaces laughter, it is a call to listen deeply, to tune into the stillness where the divine whispers. When suffering visits, it becomes a refining fire, purifying the heart and softening the spirit to receive mercy and grace. When relationships fray and distance grows, it reveals the need to seek reconciliation within ourselves and to reach toward the unbreakable unity that exists beyond earthly ties. The nearness of death, the most profound of these signs, strips away illusion and calls forth an awakening to the eternal reality that lies just beyond the veil. It reminds us that life is but a brief passage, a precious opportunity to turn our faces toward the beloved with trust and surrender. And when love within the family rises above the temporal, when it blossoms into forgiveness, sacrifice, and selflessness, it becomes a sacred force, a living prayer that prepares the soul for its reunion with the divine. In all these experiences, the heart is invited to awaken, to prepare the soul not with fear, but with hope, love, and surrender. To return to Allah is to come home to a heart cleansed by patience, a spirit purified by love, and a soul illuminated by the presence of the divine. This is the path that transforms suffering into wisdom, silence into clarity, separation into union, and love into the very essence of our being. Know this truth deeply, as it was once whispered by a voice beyond time. You are the invisible secret of the invisible secret. And when the secret becomes visible, it is the moment of union. In these words lies the promise of all existence, the secret of who we truly are, and the radiant union that awaits us. Prepare, then, for that union. Prepare for the return. With hearts wide open and souls ready, step gently forward on this sacred path, carrying within you the light of divine presence and the enduring love that binds all creation.